September of 1939, Chancellor of Germany Adolf Hitler invades Poland. Great Britain and France then declare war on Germany. In April of 1940, Hitler invades Denmark and Norway. Hitler then launches his Blitzkrieg War, also known as Lightning War, against Holland and Belgium. Rotterdam was almost bombed to extinction. Both countries were then occupied by Germany. Starting in July of 1940, Hitler then attacked Britain by sea and air. Another interesting note is that during this time, the Tripartite Pact was signed, which aligned Germany, Italy, and Japan, forming the Axis powers. In December of 1940, Italian forces were routed by British forces in northern Africa. Early 1941, Italy and Germany attack Yugoslavia. In June of 1941, Hitler decides to send 3 million soldiers into Russia, breaking a treaty with the Russians that they signed in 1939. Russia and their leader Joseph Stalin signed a treaty with Great Britain and would fight against Germany that would lead to 20 million casualties.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
On December 7th, 1941, the Japanese bomb Pearl Harbor, killing more than 2,000 soldiers. The United States declares war on Japan, as does Great Britain. In February of 1942, the Japanese captured Singapore from the British and took close to 60,000 prisoners. In June of 1942, America defeated Japan at the Battle of Midway, pushing back the Japanese in a pivotal battle. In August of 1942, the Allied powers, which was made up of Great Britain, America, and Russia, attacked the German-Italian armies in northern Africa. And by May of 1943, the British and American forces led by General Dwight Eisenhower, who would later become a U.S. president, are able to defeat the Axis forces in northern Africa. On June 6, 1944, the Allies launched an attack on Germany in Normandy, France, carrying thousands of transports of soldiers. On D-Day, 156,000 American, British, and Canadian soldiers landed along a 50-mile stretch of heavily fortified coast of France. It was one of the largest amphibious military assaults in history. Omaha Beach saw close to 2,000 American casualties that day. Close to 4,000 Allied troops lost their lives on D-Day, with thousands more wounded or missing. In December of 1944, Germany launched its final defensive, which became known as the Battle of the Bulge. They would be beaten back by the Allied troops. And in April of 1945, Hitler committed suicide, and by May of 1945, Germany surrendered. Side note, during this time, more than 6 million European Jews, as well as gypsies, homosexuals, and other persecuted groups were murdered by the Germany regime and Nazi leader Adolf Hitler. In the Pacific, the Allied forces led by the Americans won major battles on the island of Iwo Jima in March of 1945, and in June of 1945 defeated the Japanese on the island of Okinawa. More than 12,000 Americans were killed in Okinawa, and 50,000 extra were wounded. Some 150,000 Japanese, many of which were civilian, were killed during the battle. In August of 1945, Japanese generals refused to surrender, resulting in the dropping of the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing 129,000 people. On September 2, 1945, Japan officially surrendered. The worldwide casualties was around 15 million battle deaths, 45 million civilian deaths, and close to 25 million wounded worldwide.